Hey guys, and welcome. Today we're going to be making these beautiful tickets, and I've done a couple of different processes with them just so you can awaken your creativity and have a play yourself. You can collage them, put labels on them, you can basically do anything you like with them. I'm in a Facebook group here in Australia called Junk Journal Creative Swaps in Oz, and every month we sign up we pick an event that we want to take part in to create something and swap with our partners, and you're given a theme. So the one I signed up to is making these tickets, and we're making 3 strips of 4 tickets for our swap partner. I've done mine with an A4 piece of cardstock, which is 11.5 inches, and I'm just going to cut off 1/2 inch. You can make the tickets as big or as little as you like, but I've cut it to 11, and then I'm going to proportion it out into 4 tickets. The strips themselves are 1.5 inches, so I'll just cut some strips there. So we're doing 3 different types today. The A4 piece of cardstock is going to give you 5 strips at 1.5 inches, and then there'll be a little bit left over, but keep that to, stamp some words or something on. So you end up with 5 strips like that. Then we want to score it, and I'm lucky enough with this Stampin' Up cutter paper trimmer, it's actually got a scorer on there as well, so I'm going to just use that rather than getting out my scoreboard. Now the strips I have worked out to be 2.75, so 2 3/4. So I'm just going to put it on the 2 3/4 mark there, and I'm just going to score it. And then we go to 5.5, and we score it. And then we go to 8.25. And then we score it. So you'll get 4 equal size tickets on there. So I'm just going to quickly do that on the whole 3 of them that we're doing. And then I can put the trimmer away. So 2.75, 5.5, and 8.25. If you don't have, your scoreboard doesn't extend out that long, just put it at 2.75 and then get your score mark and put on the 2.75 again, and do it that way. So if you're working with just a ruler, if you don't have a scoreboard, just a ruler and a pencil or a pen or something without the lead in it, you can just score across there, or your bone folder. Actually, what I'll do while I've got the cutter out, I'm going to cut my paper strips as well. So 2 of the strips I've got paper strips on, and 2 I don't. So I'm going to cut these. These are going to go 2.5 length by, I think it was 1.25. Yes, 1.25. So they're going to be slightly smaller than the strips that we just cut, because the strips, we want a bit of a border around it. So we're cutting that at 1.25. And I'm just using 6x6 paper stock here, just to use up my scraps. Now I only want 2 of those because we should be able to get 2 out of each. And I'm just using a fairly light background because we want to do some stamping on it. So think about the papers you're using if you're going to be stamping on them. And then these ones are going to go 2.5. and just keep your little offcuts off to the side. So we've got 2 ticket papers there. Two and a half, 2.5, and then we'll just do our green ones, do 2 together. Lovely. So we end up with four tickets of each paper. Pop that off to the side. And now we want to put them into a ticket shape. So I'm using this EK Tools 1/2 inch circle, and I turn it over. These are great, these. I do have them in my shop as well. I'll put the link down below. And I'm going to do 2 papers at a time. And I'm just going to take it over to 1/2. I hope you can see that. And punch out the corner. And then that one, same, on the reverse. So you get a bit of a ticket shape there. So the easiest way to remember it is when you're doing it on the long side, the edge goes to the 1/2, because don't do it that way, you'll get a completely different shape. Practice with some scraps first rather than your papers that you've already cut out. And you're not going to get them perfectly shaped, but you'll get a bit of a generalized look. And by the time you do your stamping and everything on there, you won't even notice it. So if your pattern paper is thin enough, you can do 2 at a time. These are so much fun. You could get your stickers out. I'm not using stickers today, but you could get your stickers out and, you know, put a flower or a butterfly or something on there with some stamping as well. And now with our strips, there's a couple of things we need to do with our strips. So before I punch them, and we've got our score mark there, so we've got a nice guide there. I'm going to get one of these tools. It's like a perforator tool, and it'll just put some dots along there to be able to tear it off. If you don't have that, you could get an awl or a pokey tool like that and put your dots across there, or you could use this paper perforator that I use sometimes too and run it along there. That's a Tim Holtz Tonic Studios one, but these are, I think, dressmakers use them. And I just apply a little bit of pressure. See how you've got the perforation there, and it comes through. I probably need to go a little bit harder like that. So there'll be 3 to do on each strip because we've got 4 tickets. And of course you don't have to do them in strips of 4. You might just want to do, you know, 2 together like that. Use up your scraps, because that you can tuck them into pockets or anything like that. You know, so for example, if you had just 2 tickets, then you can just put them in your journal. You don't have to have a whole strip. Now with our 1/2 inch circle again, I'm going to go right in the middle, similar to when you're doing a notch for a tuck. And I'm going about a third of the way in. So you can see that we're working on the long side of the ticket, the same as what we did with the papers. Long side again. Then we turn it around completely, so we're on the long side again. And then we've got our ticket shape. So our papers will be going on there like that. So see how there's a border around? I'll just quickly do these other 2 strips. You could even add background stamping on these bases. They're pretty well much, they just form a frame and a base for whatever you're going to put on top of them. This is a great size, this little 1/2 inch. I use it for reinforcers as well. Okay, done. Now we're going to glue the papers on, and then we're going to do some stamping on them. So I'm just going to glue these on. Now before you do that, we might give them an ink, and you certainly don't have to ink. I actually prefer it. It just gives it a bit of a vintage look, but it also helps frame things as well. And I'm just using walnut stain today. Like I said, this step is entirely up to you. So it depends on what effect you're going for. Also, you know, what colour cardstock you're using too. This is like a bluey grey. It's really pretty. It's a real pastel colour. And of course, once you've got them all together, you can go and re-ink them if you want your ink darker. That'll just depend on your finished item as to whether you want it darker or not. You can even use different colours, different coloured inking with each one as well. Give it a different look again. great way to use up your 6x6 paper as well. I've got pads and pads of it sitting beside me, so that's why rather than go to my scrap bin, I went to my 6x6 because I wanted a fairly neutral pastel background. I could have used, you could also use coffee dye paper. You could cut your tickets out of that. Now I'm just going to glue them down. And you're just eyeballing just try and get it as even as possible. There's not a lot of wiggle time with your art glitter glue, so you try and I try and just get a bit of an eye this end. Oh. And they're not going to be perfect, but once we put a focal point on it, we're going to be looking at the focal point. When you're videoing like this, you can't get your head over it to line it up exactly. You definitely don't want to be looking at a shot of my head. You want to be, you want to be able to see what we're doing here. Beautiful, so that's one done. Now we'll just do this other one quickly and then we'll get into some stamping and colouring. And it doesn't matter if you don't have the same stamps as me. Like, just go into your stash and have a look at what you got. You can stamp anything on these, whether it's just a number, a word, a butterfly. Get your stickers out. You can put labels on them. You can just make a heap of bases like this to have in your stash ready to go. So when you're making a journal, depending on what theme it is, you can then decorate it. So you've done all the prep work. Okay, and we've got that one. So we'll start with this one. So this one is just one stamp, very basic. I had a Admit One ticket stamp. Now I'm pretty sure it's out of a Bow Bunny set, but you might have something similar. Or you might, you might have a mushroom stamp or a little leaf stamp or something like that. I am going to put a piece under it when stamping. And I've got everything mounted ready to go. And I'm going to do that in black archival ink, which is what I do the majority of my stamping with. So this is just one stamp, very quick. I'm going to line it up as best I can without getting my head too far over. So it creates an instant ticket. I know Stampers Anonymous have a ticket set as well. Stamps that would be perfect for this type of thing. And there's one strip done, and then you just tear it off. So you could tear them off and have them individually as ephemera in your journals. You could tear it off and use it for collaging. you know, cluster making, could be the start of a cluster and you can add some stuff to it. But that's number one. Number two is stamping as well, but we're using a couple of stamps. So this will show you how you can use various stamps to do a bit of collaging and using some different colors as well. So I've got this ticket word, and I think it's out of it's either correspondence or field notes. I just don't have it on my desk. I had to clear some room, so I've put the stamp sets away until so I've stamped them up a little bit. I possibly could have brought it down a little bit, but that's okay because, you know, we can add things to there as well. And then I just got another stamp. It's basically just got some numbers on it because I wanted to add a little bit of red. So it wasn't so much about the stamp. I just wanted something that would fit across the bottom space that had some numbers on it. So this one's got Las Vegas on it. You see how it just fits nicely? So it doesn't really matter what you use. And I did it in red just to make it stand out. And fits nicely in. This is why it's important to do the punching first. If you didn't want to stick these on and then stamp, you wanted to stamp them separate in case you made a mistake, that's okay too, because you can stick them on after you've finished stamping. And then with this one, I just put a number in there. So I used the Stampers Anonymous worn text. I do have that one still beside me, which is this beautiful one. So, and I've used the numbers. I just thought they were a nice size. You could put letters on there. You could do your numbers that way and have a couple of numbers, but I just went the set numbers down the bottom, so up and down like that, and down the strip. So I'm just going to put it on a stamp block. I'm going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. These are a beautiful set of stamps. See how the numbers, looks like it's worn or rubbed off, real vintagey. It's just beautiful. I haven't had this set long, so I'm going to be playing a lot with it because I want to do some words with it. It's always good to make your own words, because sometimes, you know, if we're buying words, whether they're digital downloads or already made ephemera, they're not quite what you want to say or what you want to have. So it's good to have a letter set of stamps and a number set to create different things. How's that, guys? Absolutely beautiful. So pop him off to the side and just put this stamp set away. And then let's move on to the next one, which is a bit of fun. So the next one is a little bit of stamping too, which we'll quickly get that out of the road. So this one, we didn't have any paper on there. We're stamping directly onto the base. So we're going to do the ticket word again. So we're going to have him up the top. And then we're going to have a butterfly in the middle. Now the butterfly I'm using, it's a darkroom door set, and it's called Butterfly Brilliance. It comes in one piece, and I've actually cut this butterfly off. So you can use it as a background stamp, but I'm going to cut mine out individually. These pop out too, they're just a bit of piece. But yeah, I don't want to use it as a background stamp, I want to use it as individuals. So I've cut this one off because this is the one we're using today. I like the size of it because it fitted really nicely on my ticket size. And the red rubber stamps, they just give you such a great impression. This cardstock's got a bit of a weave on it, but that's okay. All right, so that's our butterfly, and then we're going to put something down the bottom. So we're going to go with red again, and this one I've just got a number. I think it's, yeah, no, it's just off a cheap set, so I think it's AliExpress or something. So I had a bit of a rummage through yesterday, just finding some various stamps that would fit on the tickets. And then we just had some wording, if I can find, actually this is a number. Number, and we're actually going to use Seafarer archival ink. It's sort of like a bluey green. Make sure my numbers are up the right way. So once again, these are just off a little cheap set. And then we have one more, was wording called date of entry, and I did it in black just under the butterfly. So you can see that I've just collaged some stamps together, just as points of interest on there, because if we just put one butterfly on there, it might have looked a little bit bland and it might not have looked like a ticket. So, you know, by adding some numbers and words and that, you can see that it forms something that looks like a ticket. Now you could leave these plain like that. I actually colored mine, so I've used the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor pencils. So I've just actually purchased the last 3 sets because there's 6 sets all up, and I've been using these a fair bit actually. I'm just going to get the lid off this, and we're going to take the lid off this one. That one's stuck for some reason. So we're just going to colour, pick a colour, and then just colour the wings. Now these are really highly pigmented, but you can go as dark or as light as you want to. I'm getting a little bit of colour in there. And you can also blend it out, add, you know, you can add a couple of different colours. I'm going to get a water brush in a minute, or a paintbrush, but I'm going to do the centers there with black. So that color I used there is Villainous Potion. This one is Tumbled Glass. So you'll recognize these names because they're the names of all the inks and the oxides and everything. Like I said, you can blend a few colours together. So at the moment it just looks like a colouring in pencil until we add water to it. Let's do a yellow. Let's do a yellow one. So we might fossilized amber. And you could, of course, do all these the same colour. It wouldn't matter if you were using them individually or even in pairs in your journal. To have them the same colour is totally fine. And if you didn't have these pencils or any colouring in pencils, watercolour pencils rather, you could get a paintbrush with and use your distress inks, your oxides, things like that. I'll put a bit of yellow in there. So they're just so pretty. Might do a lilac one. So this one is shaded lilac. And then you can just fill in these little highlights, or you can leave them white as well. Just going to blend them in a little bit with a bit of yellow, but we might put some white over the top in a little bit. And then the actual, when we add water, it takes hardly any time at all. So we're just smoothing it out, blending it in. Just a bit to colour it. And then I'm just going to get the black just to highlight the body. But we will be putting some dots on there. So this is black soot. You could use a black marker. Just helps define it a little bit. All right, so let's get our paintbrush or water brush pen. So I'm just using just a little fine water brush and just one of my, I'll take the stamp off there. So just a stamp block, a bit of acetate, anything. I'm just going to squirt some water on there because we don't need a lot. And then we're just going to activate those pigments. The beauty of these distress watercolor pencils is there's no wood in them, so you're getting the pigment for the whole pencil. So to show you that pigment runs right through, that's a sticker on there, and then you just use a crayon type pencil sharpener to sharpen them. So I'm just blending that in a little bit like that. We're going to add some white highlights on there. But see how it makes it pop? So the harder or the more colour you put on there, the more vibrant it's going to be. If you want them pastel, you just go really light. So you can see as I put the water on there how it comes to life. Especially when I do the black, you'll notice that. Great way to make ephemera too this way. Stamp out a heap of butterflies and colour them in. Gives you great variety too. You can, of course, use those water brushes. Okay, and it's that quick and easy. And then just with I'm using a white paint pen. It's a Dats brand. I don't know where I've got it from. And I'm just going to add just a few, just to highlight it, but you don't have to. You know, you could add more colours to the wings. Take your time doing it. And that's it, guys. How good do they look? Absolutely beautiful. So if we bring our tickets back in with what we've done today, let me just move the inks out of the way and put that around that way. So 3 simple things to make tickets. Like I said, you can put labels on them, you could collage, you could use book page, anything you like. Stamp directly on to the ticket bases like that. Add your paper, then stamp, you know, various, do the collage effect again, or just that one stamp to get that effect if you've got ticket stamps. But I hope you've enjoyed that today, guys. I've really enjoyed making these again, and I'll be popping them in the post to my swap partner. Thanks for spending time with me today, guys. Really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.